Hey everybody, Jake here and welcome to the hobby. In today's video, we are counting down the top 10 best Pokemon cards of 2020. I am your resident neighborhood Pokemon card collector, and I am happy to share with you my opinion on what I think some of the best cards of 2020 are. But this is a really subjective question, so how do I break it down using science and math to give you the most objective answer on the best Pokemon cards of 2020 as possible? Well, we're gonna do it using a ranking system, basically a Pokemon card beauty pageant, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So basically what I did was I picked out the top 50 best Pokemon cards of this year. We had a bunch of promo Pokemon cards as well as amazing chase cards that you could pull inside of different Pokemon card sets. I put them all into a pool with each other and I rated them on 4 categories. And of course, you could use this own rating system for yourself if you want to see what your top 10 Pokemon card list for 2020 will look like. The 4 categories that I'm going to use is art design, flavor, hype, and my own personal twice baked score. Art design is very straightforward. It is the general design of the card, how appealing it is, how great of artwork it has, and how much it's gonna stick in my memory as I think about the card. Flavor is exactly what it sounds like. It's how memorable a card is. How do you actually acquire the card? What is the story behind of the card? And in general, how are you going to be speaking about that card if you were ever to show it to another collector? Hype is also what it sounds like. This is how much hype a card has, how much demand there is for that card, how often people talk about it, how much are people foaming at the mouth to get the card. And our final score is twice baked. This is my own personal score. This can be your personal score as well, whether it be the Annie score, the Trevor score, or the Ricardo score, whatever you would like to call it. This is your own personal taste on the card and it could vary quite significantly. Every single card was rated from a 10-point scale, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest on each of these scores. So the highest possible score that a card can get is 40 and the lowest score a card can get is 4. And you're going to see very quickly that in our top 10 list, most of these cards are very high scoring, and that is to be expected because these are the top cards of the whole entire year. But certainly as you look outward in my whole entire 50 card list, there are many cards that actually, once I sat down and look at them, they rated significantly lower than other. So let's get started right away with number 10. In the 10th place on our best Pokemon cards of 2020 list, we have Pikachu Sword and Shield promo number 20 inside of the English figure collection. This card actually came out in 2019 in Japan. The English version is significantly cheaper, but I think it is a super solid card. Let's go over the score. It got an art design score of 10, and I think that is well deserved. The card is absolutely gorgeous. It got a flavor score of 8, really solid, respectable flavor score. The artwork showcases Scorbunny, Sobble, and Grookey jumping out of the card with Pikachu, introducing us into the Sword and Shield era of Pokemon. Came out very early on in the 2020 year, and I think it is a really solid flavor. The hype behind the card, it only got a score of 6. Certainly not the most hype card, but a lot of people do discuss this card, and a lot of people think this card is highly underrated and it could potentially go up in value over time. Certainly depends on how popular the Sword and Shield era is going to be. It got a twice baked score of 9. I think very favorably of this card. Honestly, you don't see a lot of full art holographic promo cards inside of the English set. Inside of our English promo set, you very rarely see solid Pokemon card artwork, and this card is a solid standout in 2020 and it's well deserving of a spot on this list. In number 9 place, with a total score of 34, beating out the figure collection Pikachu by just 1 point. We have the full art Marnie card from Shiny Star V, a really gorgeous card. It got an art design score of 10, vibrant artwork, really cool design, and I think it just brings a smile to my face. It got a flavor score of 8 because it is certainly a memorable card. I think a lot of people are going to remember it. This is considered to be the Lily card of this year. A lot of people might remember the full art Lily trainer card that came out in Ultra Prism, and a lot of people compared this Marnie card to that Lily card, and I think that is well deserving. They are both really solid artwork with very similar design. It has a hype score of 7, certainly a very in-demand card. This is a card that a lot of people are chasing. It's going to be a card that people are going to be looking for years to come, and it's certainly one that people want to see come out inside of the English version. It got a twice baked score of 9. I think this is a really solid card. Love the art design, and it was one of my best pulls inside of my Shiny Star V booster box, so I have very fond memories of it personally. In 8th place, and tying out with the Marnie full art card with a total score of 34, we have the Players Ceremony promo card. And this might be the very first time you've seen this card because it is definitely one of the lesser discussed cards on this list. It got an art design score of 10, really solid artwork featuring Pikachu and Grookey holding up a gorgeous trophy surrounded by plenty of other Pokemon and confetti. The card art is really gorgeous, not something you see inside of other Pokemon cards very often. It comes with a Championship 2020 stamp as well to show you that this is definitely a more affordable trophy card. The card also got a flavor score of 10. This is a card with a long story behind of it. To get this card, you need to rack up 30 championship point in the 2020 season. This was very difficult due to the COVID-19 crisis, and in general this card is a hard card to find. I think prices on this card are going for $300, $400 to even $500 if you can find yourself a copy. It has a hype score of only 5 though. Certainly one of the lowest hype score we have on this list, and the big reason for that is not a lot of people know about this card. Overall, it did get a twice baked score of 9. It is a Pikachu card. It is a trophy card. It has a lot of stuff that's going for it that I personally like. It is also a extremely rare card. You're not going to be finding this card anywhere inside of the United States pretty much. There are very few people holding a copy of this card. People had to rack up 30 championship points inside of the 2020 season to even get a copy of this card. And if they have a copy of this card, they are most likely not going to be willing to give you their copy for any small sum of change. So it's certainly going to be a hard card to find. In 7th place, we have the Vivid Voltage pre-release Charizard. Even though I am not a huge Charizard fan, even I can appreciate the artwork that this card comes in. It got an art design score of 9. The card is just really beautiful. I love the angle from which we view the Charizard in. It's really an action-packed card. You can see the speed behind Charizard, and I just love the art design. I really wish that we saw more Pokemon cards like this where the Pokemon is in action. I think that is definitely something we need more of. The card got a flavor score of 9, which is really solid. I think everyone remembers how memorable this card was. The Vivid Voltage pre-release promo boxes, the Build and Battle box, were selling for the range of $15 before we saw what the promos were, and as soon as we saw that this card was one of the promo, the prices for the Vivid Voltage Build and Battle box rose to $50 to $70 for a single Build and Battle box. And you can only be so lucky to pull this card. It comes in 1 of every 4 Build and Battle box, a pretty darn hard card to come by. It has a hype score of 10, Certainly a super hyped card, as many Charizard cards are, and some people do consider this card to be one of the best modern Pokemon cards that you can collect right now. It only scored a twice baked score of 7, but was still able to get a 7th place spot on this list, which is really solid. Certainly not a card that I am super amped up about, but still a highly desirable card. I have a couple of copies of this card in my collection, and I would love to get a graded Gem Mint 10 version of it inside of my collection, but it is certainly not a card that I am clamoring to get. In 6th place, and tying with the pre-release Charizard with a total score of 35, we have the Japanese Pikachu V Max from the promo packs. This card is certainly an exquisite one. It has an art design score of 9. I think we can all appreciate how much of a fan base Fat Pikachu has gone this year. It is a very lovable Pokemon. I love the art design of this card. Not only is Pikachu massive, but I love the design of the card. Pikachu has his arm out and looks like he's about to give you a massive hug. This is an artwork that is not available in English, and I think that is something that we are unfortunately needing. A really gorgeous card. The flavor behind of this card is really solid as well. It came out with a promo in Japan. If you were to purchase a certain number of booster packs or booster boxes inside of the Japanese Pokemon Center, then you will be rewarded with a hidden pack, and inside of that pack you get one of 5 promo Pikachu, with this card being one of the lowest odds of getting the card. And what people find out pretty quickly is that you can actually feel inside of the packs to know if you get this card or not. So if you were to go online and try to purchase sealed copies of booster packs, you are very unlikely to pull this card. It is already one of the most expensive cards of this year's. Copies of it are going for well over $100. That makes it very flavorful. Going into the hype portion, this card has a lot of hype behind of it as well. Plenty of people ask me questions about it. It has a hype score of 8, making it a little bit lower than Charizard, but still a very solid card with lots of people clamoring to get a copy of, and a very solid card overall. It also got a twice baked score of 9, making it one of my favorite Pokemon cards to come out of 2020. Before we count down our top 5 best Pokemon cards of 2020, I wanted to give a shout out to some honorable mentions who, after I finished my finalized scoring, barely did not make the cut for the top 10 list, and that includes the Jirachi Amazing Rare as well as the Rayquaza Amazing Rare card. Both of these cards are available inside of the Vivid Voltage set, showcasing what a stacked set Vivid Voltage really was. A really solid set. The Amazing Rares make the set even better, and I hope to see more Amazing Rare cards to come in 2021. In 5th place, we have the Charizard Illustration card with a total score of 35. It got an art design score of 10. Of course, the card was actually the winner of a Japanese art contest, so it is well deserving of the art design score of 10. The card has a flavor score of 10. I know how memorable this card really was. To get a copy of this card, you had to go into a Pokemon Center in Japan, purchase a couple of boxes or booster packs, and get yourself a copy. They ran this promotion for only a couple of days until supplies last, and supply ran out so quickly they actually had to do a reprint of the Charizard Illustration card just so they can fully satisfy the demand of the card. And even then, I'm not even sure if the demand for this card is fully realized yet. It has a hype score of 9, a very hype card indeed, but it only got a twice baked score of 6. Overall, I think it is a solid card, but is not one of my favorite cards in this year. I would have certainly liked this card more if it was in full art, because it is an illustration card, so why would we not want to see a larger piece of the whole entire artwork? And I wouldn't even mind it inside of a holographic form. Certainly something similar to maybe like Red's Pikachu. It doesn't need to be in a holographic form, but I think full art would have made it a lot more interesting for me. In fourth place with a total score of 36 and beating out all other cards that were previously mentioned on this list, we have Special Delivery Pikachu, and this is going to come to no surprise as anyone, a well-deserving card. It only got an art design score of 7, one of the lowest art design score of any card on this list. Overall, the card has a very solid artwork and is certainly memorable. I think it could have been done a lot better. I like the holographic pattern, but it just doesn't stand out in the world of Pikachu promo cards, which I am very deep into. Certainly not the best Pikachu artwork to come out of 2020. A very safe card, and I think that's what they were going for. So an art design score of only 7, but it got a flavor score of 10, being one of the promo cards to announce the release of the Canada Pokemon Center being added to the North American site. Very important. You can get this card when you purchase $20 worth of Pokemon products on the Pokemon Center, and the promotion was so hyped that I think it actually crashed the Pokemon Center website a couple of times, and the Pokemon Center were backlogged with orders for weeks. There were so many messages coming in from viewers like you guys who came to me wondering what happened to your order, and I was practically working as a Pokemon Center customer service rep with how many questions I was trying to answer at one time. A very popular card, and that is why it also got a hype score of 9. This card has a lot of hype behind of it, and with the next card to come, which is the Special Delivery Charizard on the way, that hype is just going to be explosive. This card is certainly one that every collector should have inside of their collection. A really solid card. It got a Twice Baked score of 9. I really enjoy this card, even though it does not have one of my favorite artwork of this year. I think the artwork is going to be very iconic. I think the artwork is going to be very memorable. And I think that the Special Delivery Pikachu is going to be a card that we're going to be discussing and talking about 10, 20 years down the line, because that is how memorable this card is. In third place, and making it onto the podium, we have the Japanese promo Kanazawa Pikachu card. Well deserving of this spot. It got an art design score of 10, but honestly, if I could break my own rules, I would give it an art design score of 12 if I could. This card is gorgeous, vibrant, colorful, fun, exquisite, you name it, and this card has it. Honestly, this is the kind of artwork that we should be holding all Pokemon card artwork standard to. The card is extremely flavorful as well, with a flavor score of 9. The card is just really memorable, and it has a rich history and story. The card was announced with the release of the Kanazawa Pokemon Center, and honestly, you didn't even have to purchase this card. All you had to do was visit a Japanese Pokemon Center during the period of time when they were running this event, and you would be given this card for free. I think that is a really, really solid promo, and something that I think the Pokemon Center should do internationally as well. The card got a hype score of 8. Certainly not the most hype card to come out of 2020, but it is certainly a card that a lot of people have their eyes on, and a lot of people think this card is going to be a fan favorite for a long time. One of the more interesting thing about the card is that it features a female Pikachu, which we very rarely see on Pokemon cards, and I think it adds some nice flavor to the card. It got a Twice Baked score of 10. Honestly, I love the card. Really gorgeous artwork. Not too crazy in terms of price point either. You can definitely get a copy of this card for $20 or $30 from a Japanese vendor. So it is a card that you can easily get inside of your collection, and one of the best cards to come out of 2020 for sure. In second place on our best Pokemon cards of 2020 list, we have the Japanese trophy card Charizard V Max. You might recognize the artwork on this card. It got an art design score from me of 10. The card is really solid. I think this is one of the best V Max artwork, and they definitely did Charizard a solid favor with this card. The artwork is cool, the artwork is edgy, the artwork is desirable. This is an artwork that we are going to be remembering for years to come. The flavor of this card also deserves a 10. You might recognize this card because it's available inside of Champion's Path as a hyper rare pull, but the Japanese version of this card is significantly harder to get. To actually get this card, you had to enter tournaments in Japan during their legendary Heartbeat set, and if you were to enter, win a couple of matches, then you would be entered into a lottery to get a copy of this card. Only 1,200 copies of this card was handed out, so it is very rare, very hard to find a single copy of. I am actually convinced that there's probably less than 1,200 copies known in existence because, of course, the Pokemon company sent this card out through mail, and if you know mail, chances are 1% is already lost in the rain or shower or got damaged somehow. So there's already less and less copies of these cards as years go down the line. It got a flavor score of 10 because definitely it's very flavorful. This card also got a hype score of 10. It is definitely one of the most hype card to come out of 2020. This is a card that people are going to be talking about for years and years to come. The more down the line we go, I think the more expensive this card is going to get because it is a trophy Charizard card. Those words were never meant to go in that order. A trophy Charizard card is probably going to be one of the most expensive Pokemon cards of all time. If you were to buy a copy of this card ungraded, you might struggle to find a copy of it for under $10,000. And if you're trying to find one in a graded copy, you're talking about well over $20,000 if you want to get one of these cards. So it is by far, if not the most expensive card to come out of 2020 and well deserving of the second place spot on this list. Now we are on to the #1 spot for the best Pokemon card to come out of 2020. It got a total score of 39, so not the perfect score that I was looking for, but the best score of any Pokemon card on my list. Now remember, I rated a total of 50 Pokemon cards, and I did not know where they were going to be placed on this list. And when I saw this card placed in first, I was very, very surprised. But the more I thought about it, the more I made sense, and there was no better card to encompass all of 2020. And let's see if you guys agree or disagree. And the #1 card for 2020, I have the Fat Pikachu Hyper Rare V Max from Vivid Voltage. The card got an art design score of 10. It is such an adorable Pokemon card. So many people remember the artwork on this card. It is the Fat Pikachu. It is the Chonkachu. This card is full of flavor as well. It got a flavor score of 10, being the chase card from Vivid Voltage. By far the best standard Pokemon card set to come out of 2020 and well deserving of that spot. I remember so many videos going viral where people were pulling this card, and I remember even some really hard to watch videos where people were bending booster packs and then opening them and then freaking out because they bented the Fat Pikachu card. So this card is certainly very flavorful. The hype behind the Hyper Rare Pikachu V Max is a solid 10 score, a really solid hype card. This card is going to be one that you're going to be jumping for joy if you were able to pull a copy of inside of your Vivid Voltage booster pack. And no matter who you are, I think this card is going to bring a smile to your face. Certainly a card that people are not going to forget. This is a card that I like to see, a card that people are going to remember 5, 10, 20 years down the line. I don't think anyone is going to forget this card. In 5 or 10 years, if you were to say, hey, Do you have a fat Pikachu inside of your collection? People are going to know what you're talking about right away, and I think that is super important for the collectability of a Pokemon card. The card got a twice baked score of 9, which is why I did not get a perfect score. It is a really cool card, and I really love the card. I will certainly be jumping for joy if I were to pull it inside of one of my booster box or one of my booster packs, but I think there are better cards out of 2020. That is why this card did not get a twice baked score of 10. It might get a perfect score on your own list. So listen up, because I've got something interesting for you. That was my top 10 list for the best Pokemon cards of 2020. But if you want to see my full 50 card list and where I ranked a bunch of other great, gorgeous cards, then you can check the link down in the description. As well, I will have an empty sheet available for you to put your own rating in and see where you would rank your best Pokemon cards of 2020 would be. I think that would be a lot of fun. So you guys can share with me what your best Pokemon cards of 2020 are, whether you agree or disagree with me on any cards that were on my list. I think this is very subjective, and I did my best to make it objective as possible. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to purchase any of the English Pokemon cards that were listed out in today's video, then you can check out a partner of our channel, tcgplayer.com, and they have many of these cards available for sale right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.